Welcome back, Wolfpack. Verlis here, and I want to talk about the momentum that we've been seeing from the Pokemon Company recently with the videos from the Pokemon Super Bowl commercial and also just Pokemon Go and everything else like that. And this article really caught my attention. 1 in 10 people on social media claim to have cried at Pokemon Super Bowl commercial. And that is pretty awesome in my opinion because it shows we're getting a lot of heartfelt responses. We're getting people that haven't experienced Pokemon in a very long time reliving their childhood. And that's really what the Pokemon Super Bowl commercial was all about. Now, for a lot of us fans that have already been established for a long time, we got to see the commercial on the Pokemon YouTube channel. You know, we already saw this. We knew what to expect for the Super Bowl, but a lot of people, they honestly did not see it coming. They might have heard rumors or something, but they might not have actually seen it if they weren't super into the community, and that's what this commercial was targeting. And as you can see, we were getting some really direct responses, and this article kind of elaborates on that, which is also pretty nice, that of the 11,000 tweets that were right after the commercial airing, 4,000 of them, so almost 40% were considered genuine emotional responses just from, I guess, maybe there's an analyst that was looking and trying to understand what people were tweeting out, like, oh my god, the Pokemon Super Bowl ad made me cry, tears, amazingness, you know, this was really making people feel passion towards Pokemon for the first time in a long time, and also 88% of the social media mentions were positive, and we can see here that the Super Bowl commercial was one of the most popular ones as well. 41,000 interactions just within the night, and just looking at also the huge amount of YouTube interactions and whatnot. So people are considering it one of the more successful commercials from the Super Bowl, and it's not just Gamnesia talking about it, a lot of other outlets and just a lot of other people in general. I went onto Facebook and all of a sudden all my friends I haven't talked to in years that know I'm this ultimate Pokemon freak, and they might be aware that I'm on YouTube or not, they're like, yo, did you see the Pokemon Super Bowl commercial? It's like, yeah, I saw that like 2 weeks before it came out, but it's good to see that you're caring about Pokemon. Everyone's like, man, I'm gonna pick up this game again. What's Pokemon up to? Like, everyone was coming to me like, hey, you're the Pokemon guy. What have I missed in the last 5 years? Because it shows that the commercial reached who it needed to, and then people that didn't see it directly during the Super Bowl, you know, they probably were told by friends, like, hey, go look it up on YouTube. And because of that, the video has exploded in views. Almost 21 million people have seen this commercial on YouTube. The Super Bowl had almost 120 million live viewers, which is kind of crazy to think about. So a lot of exposure has been onto this, and we got to see a lot from the actual Pokemon Company on this commercial, which was really nice. And then we can also look at the Pokemon Go commercial, which has 22 million views at this time. So recently, in the last couple months, Pokemon is bringing back those older audiences. They're capturing the imagination, and it's showing that, you know, Pokemon still has reach. This is very promising. I even pulled up these Social Blade stats for Pokemon. I think it's right here. So Social Blade is where you can see like views and subscriber gains. It's just a bit more in depth. It's kind of like looking at a jank version of their analytics, and we can see that, oh, Pokemon Go, the views went from pretty much like the views I get per month. Like, the actual Pokemon Company YouTube was doing about as well as I was, but then, you know, they released the Pokemon Go commercial, and it freaking explodes. Gets a ton of subs as well. They don't do much, but then the Super Bowl comes out. So now we can see, you know, Pokemon, they held retention. They're gaining more subs after the Pokemon Go Super Bowl commercial, and they're getting more views. And also, because of that, we're seeing the monthly views jump up from the Super Bowl commercial and everything else like that. And the daily views have been absolutely immense. We can see that leading up to it, it was gaining a lot of views, and now after, it's just freaking exploded. Tons of subscribers. I mean, 3,000 subscribers in one day for the Pokemon Company. It shows that it's reaching people. They're heading to social media. They're like, where's this video? Where can I find this? YouTubing it. Pokemon Super Bowl commercial. Oh my god, the Pokemon Company has an official channel. I'm going to subscribe. And this is the reach and the interaction that the Pokemon Company is finding. We can kind of see that there's a huge gap. You know, Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire kind of trailer with all the megas, 6.5 million views. Still very, very nice. Pokken Tournament still doing pretty good as well, but this shows the generational gap right here. This is the fans that haven't been interested in Pokemon for almost a decade, and now it shows interest at least. I don't know if they're going to be coming back, but shows that the Pokemon Company has something to work with. It's in the back of everyone's head. It's still finding new families. It's finding old families. It's trying to get to where it was, and that's the amazing thing. Now, this video is mostly just kind of showing like all these various successes, and you know, people are still emotional, people are still finding Pokemon, and they're maybe rediscovering again. So that's the best part about this. Now, one thing about this video is because later today, I have a more negative video coming out about the competitive side of Pokemon, because when you think about it, the Pokemon Company, what is there behind Pokemon? What else is there to Pokemon besides the brand? We can see that 20 million people, they want Pokemon Go. They want to be a part of the whole train on thing. But Pokemon only goes to one place in the end, and that's effectively competitive. Now, you don't have to settle on being a competitive battler at any means, but that's really the gameplay. That when we look at games like League of Legends, CSGO, any of the popular games, Super Smash Bros., they have replayability. The Pokemon game doesn't really have replayability. It has an effectively infinitely large endgame with training and breeding Pokemon and then going into competitive battles. But the thing is, you need to manage the competitive side of Pokemon really well to keep these people, or else they're going to pick up the game, feel that it's about the same, maybe enjoy the story, but they're not going to be engaged anymore, and then they drop off 3-4 years until there's a new game coming out, and that just doesn't show that we're getting this huge phenomenal swing of people loving Pokemon again. This is my fear. I want to see Pokemon always striving to be the best. I want to see Pokemon at the top forever, like the late 90s, where it was just this cultural phenomenon. I want to see it like that again, but a lot of that was from the game. And now I feel that the competitive side of that is kind of pushing those boundaries, because if you don't want to get competitive, then you're not really going to have anything to play Pokemon with. Like, you're not going to be able to play Pokemon for much longer than the actual storyline, which is roughly 20 to 30 hours at best, and then maybe a little bit of post-game. So that's what this next video is going to be about. It's going to be about the huge rant of the mismanagement of the competitive Pokemon scene. We need to make it more friendly. We need to make it more inviting. I feel there's a lot of communities out there that are ruining the competitive Pokemon scene by just kind of promoting a toxic, over-competitive attitude that creates a barrier for entry. You know, if you come in and start trying to play Pokemon, it's like, oh, noob, in-game team, you suck, bad movesets, you're not using the most common Pokemon. And this isn't just with Smogon or singles or anything. You also see this a lot in VGC as well. So it deters a lot of players from wanting to become competitive, because there's already the super small, super condensed, overly competitive top tier players. You know, if say that someone goes, hey, I want to go to a regionals, and they get absolutely bodied 0-6, they're going to realize that people are taking this game way too seriously, and if it's not for them, then they're not going to become competitive. And the video is going to be a rant about how just the management of the competitive Pokemon scene is not being done well by the Pokemon Company, at least for the American side of the Pokemon Company. Like, with the Pokemon Company US, I feel that, you know, the rules are being mismanaged, the people that are in charge of the competitive side are not the right people, and that a lot of the other communities out there are really being poor to the representation of the competitive community, and it's a very, very bad thing, and it's causing this huge amount of views, this huge amount of people wanting to play Pokemon again, to have almost no retention whatsoever. I mean, if we're seeing like 20 millions on this, if Pokemon Go is a huge success, if people want to keep getting back into Pokemon, that means we should see 15, 20 million copies of the next Pokemon game sold. If it is Generation 7, people are going to flood into that, and if we only have, what, I don't even know what the competitive side of it is, but if we only have tens of thousands sticking around for the competitive scene, or, you know, maybe even 100,000 people retaining to the game and trying to look at it from that way, that's not really that fantastic compared to the other games out there that are doing really well. So I feel that the competitive side of Pokemon is being mismanaged, while the actual promo and press, like all this side of Pokemon, this is phenomenal right here. Everything is in the right place to make sure people want to be playing Pokemon, but other than that, you know, there's the part outside of Pokemon. I'm not saying every player has to be competitive, but that's ultimately what it boils down to. So it needs to become enjoyable again. Back in the 4th generation, before all these competitive communities got super huge and super overly competitive, it was fun. You could go to school, you can go anywhere and just play a Pokemon, and there wasn't any backlash from being not that skilled. You can go to a tournament and win even, because the overall level of the players was lower, instead of just trying to really condense it. Now, we can always have a very strong competitive community of the most top tier players, but I feel it's starting to bleed into the casual aspect of Pokemon too much, and it's really killing the game for everyone. So if you guys enjoyed this video, you know, Pokemon's doing awesome. Hey, get ready for a rant later today. If someone doesn't watch this video, they might get confused as to why I'm praising Pokemon and then crapping on them later, but I mean, it's the competitive versus the casual side. So we'll see how that video goes. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you all have a nice day. Thank you for watching.